Hello to all the followers of Rock Metal Peru. Today we have the opportunity to interview Paul Speckmann, who is the bassist and founder of the death metal band Master, one of the bands that did the most for the birth and expansion of death metal in the mid-80s. So Master will be arrived in our city for the first time on this April 25th at Yelp Rock Bar. So welcome, Paul, and thank you for being here.
No, it's great to be here. I'm looking forward to the show as well. Obviously, as you said, we've never been there before. So this will be a great opportunity to finally get a chance to share the music with the people.
Yes, absolutely. So to start with this interview, I understand that your musical process began at the age of 17. Could you share with us how did you get into music, especially into death metal music? How was the process to start with the band Master?
Okay, well, like you said, at 17, I was singing in a cover band. We were playing I was singing songs from Ted Nugent and Judas Priest and UFO, this kind of stuff. Montrose. We were trying to emulate Led Zeppelin, which obviously wasn't easy. But anyway, so this was at 17. When I turned about I don't know, nearly 18 years old, I decided that I wanted to be a bass player. So I bought myself a bass and I started training myself to play bass by listening to records. I started out with Black Sabbath and Aerosmith, these kind of early 70s bands. I'm an old man, so early 70s bands. And so I did my best to try and figure out how to play along with the records until I figured out how to play the songs. And as time went by, I got together with my friends from high school and we put together a band called War Cry, which was kind of again, it was sort of like Black Sabbath, doomy music, more of a commercial singer. He thought he was Dio, he thought he was Halford, this kind of singer. And we did our best. Again, we started getting some decent shows. And we played shows with Twisted Sister and like one show with Twisted Sister and Queensryche, another one with Leslie West and Mountain, and we all opened up for the Joe Perry Project, this kind of stuff. We were trying to get our stuff together and playing these local shows and trying to get the scene moving, and we did our best. And then I discovered Motorhead and this 7-inch from Venom. It was a 7-inch record. It had Live Like an Angel, Die Like a Devil on it, and In League with Satan. And I really got into this music. I realized it was much heavier. And then we decided we wanted to be heavy like Venom and Motorhead. And we started listening to bands like GBH and Minor Threat, MDC, The Exploited, these kind of bands, So we kind of put it all together and tried to come up with our own version of this so-called new style. At the time, there really was no death metal. We were just playing some heavy, aggressive music, trying to be like these other bands, but our own version. And really, that's how it began for me. Yeah.
Yes, and you also were an inspiration for many death metal bands nowadays, and that past too. So I also know that you changed the name of the band because at the beginning was called Death Strike. Now it's called Master. What did you decide to change the number?
Okay, what happened was we had this band. It was already called Master, the drummer and I, and for nearly a year, we kept trying to find a guitar player for this band, Master. We auditioned I don't know, 25 different guys in Chicago, and we couldn't find anybody who could do it. So then what happened was the drummer went on and he joined a band called Mayhem, not the one from Scandinavia, but a Chicago band called Mayhem. He joined a band called Mayhem. I got really frustrated and angry with him, and I put together my own band called Death Strike. And so what happened was that at that time with Death Strike, I put an ad in the local paper looking for a musician. I was looking for a guitar player and a drummer to hang out with and try and record this new music with my new band called Death Strike. And one of the guitar players, Chris Middlebrun, who actually auditioned for Master the year before, he put an ad in the paper, in the same music paper again, and I saw it, I read it, I called him and didn't know it was him until he came. And now all of a sudden, he was more on the same page with me. He was listening to Slayer and Motorhead and Venom, and he came up with his own version as well, his own style, emulating these bands, let's say. And then we put together a band together. We formed Death Strike. And shortly after that, as Death Strike, we recorded a demo. And then the old drummer, he quit the band Mayhem, and he came crawling back to me and said, "Hey, I'd like to jam with you guys in Death Strike." And one thing led to another, and we became Master again. And obviously, we're going on 40 years. I'm still doing Master. Unfortunately, the guitar player, he fell in love, I don't know, 10 times and got married 5 times. The original drummer, just had a downfall. He was on drugs all the time, a manic depressant, and I just went on by myself. And here I am 40 years later, still in Master.
Yes. So talking about that, since your previous album that is Vindictive Miscreant, which was released in 2018, we saw that the band has gone through certain particular moments, especially in the COVID pandemic and the changes of members. How did these events affected the creative process of the new album that is Saints Dispelled?
Okay, so really to make the story short, so what happened is that after Vindictive Miscreant, the drummer Zdenek Predlovsky and the guitar player Alashneas Kleba, they quit the band. We had a discussion, an argument about money, and they quit the band.
Okay.
So then what happened was I decided that I wanted to try again. And so I got a hold of a friend of mine who plays drums for me when I toured with Master for many years in America. And one of his friends who also played with me another time in the past said they were interested in playing with me now. So I went to America and did a U.S. tour with them. We also did actually it was more Mexico and Central America. And then I brought them over here to do a European tour. So during this time, everything was fine. And then after then we did another tour, which was in Central America and Mexico. And just as the tour was ending, COVID hit, And so these guys, they came out here and we hung out for a while, and then all of a sudden they had to go home because everything was closing down. And so they went back to America and stayed there. And 2 years went by, and I wasn't playing because you couldn't play. They weren't really doing shows in Europe at that time during the 2 years of COVID. It was a big struggle for everybody, including me. And then I ran an ad in the online under a T-shirt I was selling. I just said, I'm looking for musicians, and I'd like to get the band rolling again now that the doors are opening, because clubs all of a sudden started opening slowly, but started opening. And so then a drummer that I had in 2010 in Brazil, I took him on a tour in Brazil, and he was with the band for about a year as well in Europe. And he wrote me and said, "Oh, I'd be interested in playing again. I haven't played for a long time, and I'll give it a try." And then he got a hold of the guitar player that quit my band, Alex, again. And Alex said he was interested in working again, and he came back. And so then we rehearsed, and we started doing shows for about a year. And during this time, I wrote a new album. And then we recorded the new album, and the record company took about a year in promotion of the album to finally release it January 2024. Yeah, 2024. January 19th, 2024. So it just came out. Like I said, we recorded it about a year before, but it doesn't matter. The point is it came out, and as for how it reflected on the new album, well, I wrote songs about what was happening in my life during that 2 years, of course, and it was a hard time for me and for everybody. And I suppose this probably came out of the new album.
Yeah, it's very interesting because actually in this new album, we can find songs that criticize society. Maybe could you explain to us the message that you wanted to give in songs like Walking in the Footsteps
Footsteps
of
of
Doom
Doom.
and Destructions in June, and how the problem is reflected in today's society?
Well, obviously, let's see, Walk in the Footsteps of Doom. It talks about how this woke culture is trying to take over in the USA, and I don't understand it, and I'll never understand it. And this is what this song is about. I think we're walking in the footsteps of doom, really. You know, things are not going so well in America anymore. Th I don't know. People are changing, society's changing, and in all honesty, I've been criticizing America for my whole career,
Yes.
because I've been for the most part, let's say in the last, let's say 24 years, I've been standing on the outside looking in. I've lived in the Czech Republic for 24 years, and I see America a little differently from when you're living there. Maybe you have a different opinion when you're living inside of there, but I'm watching on the outside, and so I have a different opinion about it. And even when I visit there, it's like freedom is not what it was before. 24 years ago, or even longer, let's say 35 years ago, I'm old. Um, America really was a free country when I lived there. When I was a teenager, even into my, let's say, early adulthood, there really was a lot of freedom. And now in the society over there, they have a lot more control over what you're doing.
Yes.
Freedom of speech is gone, and freedom, a lot of freedoms have disappeared, and they have more control over people over there. And everybody still here in Europe thinks that, oh yeah, I want to go to America. There's so much freedom there. But the point is I found more freedom in the Czech Republic than there is in America now. And that's why I live here. Okay.
That's
Now,
very
I just wanted to say, okay, for Destruction in June, again, it just, let me look at the lyrics here for a second. They're right here in front of me. They're right here in front of me. Obviously, the words speak for themselves. America is in debt. There's a lot of problems with money. They need to borrow money to keep the government open, for example. And it says the week at the helm. It's talking about the Joe Biden, of course. What else? I'm just looking at it here. It's still an American game, of course, and people are suffering in the streets. The lyrics are pretty much self-explanatory. You probably don't have the lyrics, but I'm just saying, for the people out there, they can read the lyrics. It's pretty self-explanatory. And the good thing is that I ordered 100 CDs from the record company to bring on the tour over there. So hopefully, by the time I get to you guys, I still have some left. And hopefully, DHL releases them. They've been holding on to them for 5 days right now in Brazil, and it's making me a little nervous. Again, it's an American company, and they're like robbers, They're always stealing money from me and stealing money from the people I send CDs to. It's a big problem today.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, DHL is an American company, and they're constantly stealing money from me and other people. They're like holding the CDs right now in Brazil hostage. And obviously, we're going to have to send them some money so they'll release the CDs so I can sell them. Yeah,
Yes.
it's really not a good thing. Yeah.
Yes, it happens. Yes, so now in your long experience in the metal scenes, because throughout your entire career in the band, with the large amount of recording work that Master has done, that is, I think, like 15 albums with the last one apart from the demos. What do you consider was the recording work that defined what we know today as a master?
Well, I would say the new album defines Master today, I know everybody says that, of course. I've had some discussion about it, but I really believe the new album has everything that Master has had in the past as well. But I think the playing of the musicians, including myself, is much better on the new album.
Yes.
much more of a variety of styles. It's not like one particular thing. The reality about my band Master is that I've been writing the songs for years. The last two albums, I wrote every song. In the early days, I wrote every song. Sometimes other guys brought in songs which were also good, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying my favorite albums are the last two albums because I was kind of forced into writing these albums completely, everything, you know. I wrote all the guitar parts, etc. And for me, they're the best albums because I think that in on these last two records, I really put my heart and soul into them again more than the others because I sort of had to. It's like I got to this point in time where you really have to show everybody you still got it. And thankfully, the people agree with that right now. So I'm happy about that, you know.
Yes, we can say that it's all the evolution of Master, right?
Sure. It's an evolution. It's like you I personally write songs for myself, and I've always done this, and I always just hope that people like them, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. The last album, people liked it. This album, the people like it even more. So I guess I'm on the right track, maybe. Yeah.
Yes. So now you're coming for the first time here in Lima, Peru. And on this tour and your presentation here in Peru, we understood that the setlist will be focused on the band's initial works. So it will be a very nostalgic event for fans of its beginnings, of course. And could you tell us how the decision was reached to put or to prepare this setlist? Because we're going to present the old songs and also the new song from your
No,
album.
no new songs. No, we don't have time for new songs. No chance. The problem is the Brazilian promoters, they only wanted a tour of the first two albums. So we're only going to play songs from the first two albums, yeah? It really doesn't give us time to play songs from the new album. Obviously I would like to do that, but we don't have that opportunity. They
Yes,
want
because
only
I
the
thought
first two
that the
albums.
name of the tour was called like the last album because I thought that.
And me too. But
Yes.
and the record company also is not very happy about it. But sometimes you have to do what the people want, you know. It's like normally when I do a European tour or South America, wherever, we do a variety of songs from the entire career, of course. But this time around, the guy said we want a special tour, only the first two albums. So that's where we are, only the first two albums. So obviously, we'll have to come back again and do a
Yes.
tour of the complete set. Yeah.
Yes. Your old fans is going to be happy because they are going to listen the first song of Master because they think this is the beginning of everything.
So that's good for them.
Yes.
Maybe not
So,
good for me, but good for them. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know I have listened Master a lot, well, to make this interview. Well, to find out this interview, would you like to send a message and invite to all your Peruvian fans to go to this event of Master on April 25th?
Sure. I'd like to see everybody coming out and supporting the band Master. And I want a really important thing too is to come out and support the bands that are playing with us as well. Obviously, without the local support, it would be a dull situation. You know, the reality is that local bands are really important, and you have to get out there and support the local bands because they're the future of metal. I say this all the time. You know, without the local bands, metal's gonna die. So come to the show early, support all the bands, and we're gonna kick your ass. I promise. You know.